commercial was on. Nobody cared about Sable after the Frito-Lay model and Victoria's Secret's commercial, and most shocking was that more than half the people had never heard of Steve Austin or Vince McMahon. But whatever it was, just for the publicity, this was well worth the investment and then some. It does turn into a bit of a controversial thing, and we'll get there in a minute. But were you pleased with the commercial?
Very much so. It was an excellent commercial. It was cleverly written and produced and shot good. And, hey, it was in the Super Bowl, and it was a big deal, and people were talking about it.
Meltzer would write that the controversy from this commercial was because two right-wing religious groups, the American Family Association and Morality and Media Incorporated, complained about the commercial because of the brief spot where a couple was in the embrace that appeared to be making out while at the office. The FCC had received close to 60 complaints about the commercial by the latter part of the week, and Morality and Media put out a press release that claimed the commercial showed, quote, a woman was clearly shown on an office desk on her back with her skirt wide open, legs spread high in the air toward the viewing audience. Deep between her legs was a man thrusting his groin wildly in simulated sex. The press release called pro wrestling, quote, neither a sport nor a form of entertainment fit for civilized people, which I got to tell you really might be the name of our new podcast. I mean, not a form of entertainment fit for civilized people. When you hear that there's pushback on this, especially now when we know about social media, like, can you imagine if the WWE did something like this and there were 60 negative tweets? Who gives a shit, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, pushback. There's no fucking pushback. I mean, it was a couple of people going, oh, we don't like the WWF. And, okay, well, thanks for getting those initials right, and thanks for talking about us. Appreciate you. Be sure to watch next year.
Do you think that the scene where they're quote-unquote simulating sex was maybe a bad look for the company? Or did you even give it a second thought at the time?
Still don't give it a second thought. Not at all.
The February 1st Raw was taped on June 26th in Tucson, Arizona. It was a sellout, but a small crowd, just under 7,000, but it still grossed over 175 grand. And these days, everybody's happy if you hit 100. Raw opens with Shane doing an interview explaining that Vince is actually in Victoria, Texas, with Patterson and Briscoe hunting for Austin, and the cage lowers while Shane was doing an interview, and X-Pac is on the cage, and he's pounding on Shane until China gave him a low blow and held him for Shane. Later in the show, Bossman beat D'Lo, and then PMS actually cost D'Lo the match. Goldust is here. He's gonna have a run-in on the Blue Meanie, who's spoofing the Nitro Girls as one of the Raw boys. And then Dr. Francois tells D'Lo that Runnels, Terry, Marlena, was never actually pregnant. Kudos for everybody having something to do here. This is definitely the Vince Russo era. I even enjoyed Meanie spoofing the Nitro Girls as one of the Raw boys. But man, every time we circle back to this whole pregnancy angle with Terry, ugh.
Yeah, and Dr. Francois Petit, who is essentially a glorified chiropractor. Great guy and could adjust you like there's no tomorrow. But, yeah, we'll just leave it there. But the pregnancy angle goes down as one of the worst in the history.
You guys did skits throughout this show that are pretty entertaining. They still stand up here. Patterson and Briscoe doing a bunch of comedic stunts, and Vince trying to provoke Austin, but of course it doesn't work out, and it ends up with a bunch of Texans advancing on Patterson and McMahon and Austin in a bar. So pretty fun. The main event is Triple H and Kane, and in this match Kane gets busted open very badly and wound up with staples in the head as a result. What happened in that?
Well, he got his happy ass busted open. But, it's funny. Everybody talks about the stuff with the Stooges and Vince going to Texas. all that shit was shot in Arizona because Russo and Vince just felt that, you know, as long as it's an Old West motif, then people will believe it's Texas. And I remember saying, why in the fuck are you saying Victoria, Texas? Only people in Victoria, Texas know where Victoria, Texas is.
Well, isn't that where Austin said he was from?
He did, but it's basically just kind of, I don't know, what is it? It's northwest of Houston, but there's not a whole lot there. There's a Silver Wings Ballroom, but not a whole lot. Like Bandera, Texas, when he lived in Bandera, we actually went there because they had some really cool bars and nice shit. But it was just the attitude, the New York attitude of no one will know the difference. It's Arizona, it's Texas, nobody cares. It used to piss me off, but regardless.
Let's talk about Dan Severn. He makes the Observer here. Meltzer would report he's on the way out, and allegedly he was given a series of options here. He got suggested he do a shoot fight with Steve Blackman, which maybe doesn't make any sense if you're Dan Severn. He was given the option, but signing a contract release where they would give him a severance check as a buyout, or he could remain on contract for the next year plus until it expires, but he'd be jobbed out. And Meltzer would say, as of right now, it appears he'll be working through the end of February. And obviously, Severn didn't get over. Quote, it would have been tough, and if it could have worked, there is no guarantee. But if it had been done perfectly from the start, and it wasn't, he was pretty well doomed when he was asked where the NWA belt on again. Because the first thing they did was injure him with Owen under the guise of making him a face and setting up a feud. But before they could even do their feud, they turned him on Blackman for no reason, and this confirms one way or another, which I've been led to believe Severn is booked from the WWF through early February, and he's now in negotiations, allegedly, for a shoot fight in Holland. So how do you remember things coming to an end? Do you remember pitching the Blackman angle, and do you agree with Dave that the NWA title did him no favors?
Well, the NWA title definitely didn't do him any favors. But how did you used to describe Dan Severn?
Tonight will feature two teams stacked with players who have reached legend status.
Me personally?
You personally.
He said he had the personality of the UPS truck.
Of a UPS. So there you go. That's what you're starting with. And Dan is a wonderful human being, legit tough guy, but just not a lot of charisma.
But you signed it. I mean, you knew that when you signed it, right?
Get back to it.
No, we really didn't, because it came across much differently in that shoot fight world. It came across a lot differently. And you're thinking that you've got Ken Shamrock now, and you had just two completely different animals on your hands, where I think that Severn saw himself as Shamrock. But again, once you get it, a lot of people felt that, me included, by the way, that Dan Severn could come in and that with his shoot fight, his legitimate background, that we would be able to do something with him. Unfortunately, you have to do promos and everything else, and Dan just didn't. And Shamrock wasn't a great promo guy either, but he was able to make up for that with the intensity in the ring. He didn't have to say a lot.
Right.
Unfortunately, Dan didn't say a lot with his intensity in the ring either. He was very methodical, slow, and very just methodical. Terrific wrestler, all that other stuff just didn't translate into professional wrestling. And we tried. Hey, man, we tried. It didn't work.
Remember this option of, hey, we're going to give you a severance check as a buyout, or you can stick around and we'll job you out?
Yeah, no. First of all, nobody talks like that. That's, someone who's never been in the business that says, oh yeah, they told him they're going to job him out. No one would ever say that. That's just complete horseshit. Dan was given an opportunity, said, look, if you're unhappy, Dan was unhappy. Dan knew that he wasn't getting over. Dan felt that he's like, I'm just kind of in the middle of the card here. They're not doing anything with me. I don't think my personality fits here. He's a smart guy. He understood it. He got it. And out of respect for Dan, I believe it was JR went to him, just said, hey, let's end this amicably, and we'll pay you till a certain time, and you can go on and pursue other interest because he was interested in doing other shoot fights outside of the WWF.
You will have to do better than that, sir.
You know what, Dan? That's probably going to be more lucrative for you, and that's a world that you still are over in. We didn't want to take that away from us, so yeah, go ahead and leave.
And let me tell you, if you're looking to go ahead and leave and just make a split amicably and get a buyout, well, you need to know about Lightstream, because if you're sick and tired of paying high interest rates on your credit cards, now is the chance to consolidate multiple credit card payments down into one payment at a lower rate. Doesn't that sound nice? If it does, then Lightstream is a no-brainer. You can refinance your credit.
Made his whole thing on knocking people out, on just going out there not giving a shit and knocking people out. He had a reputation as a barroom brawler, came into the UFC, and in my opinion, got lucky. Every win that he had, he got lucky, but he was a loudmouth, cut great promos, and unfortunately, in our world, that bell would have had to ring, and he couldn't just go out there and just knock people out. He had to be able to work, and he had to take bumps. He had to learn how to work a little bit, and there just wasn't a whole lot of work ethic there either.
Let's talk a little bit about Butterbean. He's in the news as well. The Philadelphia Daily News would report that he had a 2-fight deal with the WWF at $50,000 per fight, and they even claim in the newspaper that he'll never be pinned in either match. And they also report that he had discussions with the WWF about doing a Bart Gunn Brawl for All match, but as of yet, of course, it hadn't happened. But he's going to take off from boxing after mid-February and start getting ready for whatever it is he's going to do with the WWF. Of course, we know he is going to wind up taking on Bart Gunn. It's going to happen at WrestleMania in March. Chat me up here. Why didn't it go well the first time, and what was better about this offer the second go-around with Butterbean?
Well, there was no there was no first and second offer. There was one offer that we held off until WrestleMania, looking for, okay, what's going to be the more eyeballs? Where should we do this? And the idea was, let's do it at WrestleMania. Give Bart as much time as possible could train for the thing. Bart took it seriously, and Bart really trained his ass off with boxing trainers, and he got in the gym, and he felt that he had a chance, but he wanted to go out and fight Butterbean. So to make it the best, to give Bart every opportunity, it's like, how long do you need? So he wanted that extra time to train and work out. I don't know how much good it did him, but it just was a different, it's a different world. It's one thing to be a tough guy and do what Bart did. It's another thing to be a boxer and get in the ring and actually box with skilled boxing. It's just a completely different world.
Another thing I want to mention here is Howard Stern took to the air to riff on the WWF for the Mark Henry Sammys. And he says it's ridiculous, it shouldn't have been allowed on TV, and children are going to watch. He's very critical of the WWF here, which in hindsight seems kind of interesting because he's on morning drive radio in most markets talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. But Russo had Howard Stern as a hero at the time. Does Vince ever mention, or does it ever come up, that Howard was critical of the company? Because you guys had an on-again, off-again relationship with his show over the years.
Yeah, it was pretty hypocritical, I think, on Howard's part, just because of the subject matter of the show for so many years on free radio. And as it was pointed out to me so many times when I would say that USA Cable, what's on free cable? Yes, you have to pay for cable, and I get it, guys. But Howard was on free radio. Just turn your radio on, and you could listen to some girl deep throat to kielbasa. But Russo loved everything that Howard Stern did and thought he was the end-all, be-all. But I don't... Look, they were talking about us. Thank you.
I do want to mention the Raw at the Sky Dome in Toronto, because the February 8th Raw, which actually aired on the 13th, it's at the Sky Dome, which is a pretty big deal because at this point it's drawing the largest crowd in the history of the Monday Night Wars There's 41,432 fans in the building. 38,000 and change were paying $737,000 US, which is just insanity for a Raw. It was both the third largest crowd and third largest gate for pro wrestling ever in Canada, only behind the Hulk Hogan Paul Orndorff match, which we've talked about a lot from way back in the day. I think that was like '85. And then the WrestleMania 6 match with Hogan Warriors that drew 64,287 fans. Really a huge show. And it's just a Raw. Who picks the idea of a Sky Dome Raw?
Carl DeMarco, the president of Canada. Bison Head.
Come on.
The business was great everywhere, and it was especially great in Canada. The Sky Dome. So we're 1999. So this is the year where a lot of the domes, okay, the Astrodome, the Sky Dome, I believe St. Louis, definitely the Georgia Dome. But some of these big domes, they were really hurting for revenue because they were built for football and/or baseball. And it's not football and baseball season, they would sit empty for the most part. So there was a guy, actually the first place that ever did it was the Astrodome in Houston, where they all of a sudden decided that they could curtain off the dome and they could make any size arena they want. They could make a 10,000 seat intimate arena with curtains and drapes, and they would all absorb the sound, and you felt like you were in a 10,000 seat arena. You could make it 20,000, 30,000. They could accommodate whatever size you wanted. So this became now, for the dome, all of a sudden their business opened up to people that would use smaller venues, the 10, 20,000 seat arena. I know was one of the perks that came in is they wanted, instead of running whatever the arena was there in Toronto, Maple Leaf Gardens, it was run the Sky Dome, we'll, however many tickets you sell, that's how big this arena is going to be. So they just would move the curtain in more, and it was intimate for the people that were there. And it was the same thing with Sky Dome. We did it. I don't think we ever did the Astrodome. We did it in the Alamo Dome and other domes. But that was one of the first, and it worked, and we proved successful. WCW did it with the Georgia Dome. We did it at the Georgia Dome, and it was something that worked well.
Let's talk about this Raw here, because the show opens up with Jason Sensation. It's a name we haven't talked about before, certainly in a long time, doing a bunch of imitations, including China. And they do a 20-minute long banter, which started with Austin saying he's going to kill Vince, and Mankind saying he's going to kill The Rock, and then the corporation coming out, and Vince and Rock retort, and Vince announces that he's going to referee the Mankind-Austin match later in the show. Jason Sensation, though, name that popped up in the news sometime last year again. Chat me up about Jason Sensation.
Jason was one of those kids that got taped at a autograph signing doing a Owen Hart imitation, I believe it was. Did Owen Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin. They got him on tape. Has heard it. Be that kid. And DeMarco went back, found him, goes, oh yeah, that's what his name is, and found him and brought him in. But he had a nice little run there for a while doing his imitations. His Owen Hart was, you close your eyes and it was Owen Hart. His imitations were second to none. He really did a great job, and he got a little fame out of it for a while.
Let's talk a little bit about the first match here in the show. It's Mark Henry with a new valet named Ivory beating Jeff Jarrett. Boy, how weird is it that we're covering a Raw 20 years ago that Jeff Jarrett's on, and the son of a bitch was on Raw this week.
And Monday's working hard on the show.
Hey, stop that. Road Dogg said we had nothing to do with that shit. So let's just let it go. We got.
I still sing it better.
Well, we got a bunch of tweets saying that it was all our fault, and Road Dogg corrected that and said that no, come on, guys. So let's just leave it alone. That's Jeff's song now. We didn't have anything to do with that.
Right off the post.
You know my baby's got me wrapping around her.
Oh, what a block. That'll wake you up in the morning.
Know that I would walk through hell and back to be with her. I can't wait to be alone with my baby tonight.
Speaking of,
At least I know the word.
well, that's true. Speaking of your baby, Ivory here is making her debut, and of course she's going to have a heck of a career, go on to be a Hall of Famer. But she's been in the wrestling business forever. I think her name back in the Glow days was like Tina Ferrari. Were you surprised at the longevity she had in the company? Because it does feel like she would win a game of which one of these is not like the other.
Oh, I'll tell you a funny story. There was, and I just can't think of her name, and I tried to look it up beforehand, and but please everyone, make no mistake about it, in no way, shape, or form was it Ivory. But there was a Glow girl that had a sugar daddy who got a meeting with Vince McMahon. And this guy was wanting to pay for his girlfriend, this former Glow girl, to be the WWF champion. And he wanted to pay us to have her work with whoever the champion was at the time and win. And be the champion so that she could say that she was the WWF Women's Champion. And Vince is kind of looking at him and looking at me and looking at this guy and this girl. He's like, that's not how we do business. And he says, well, there's the first time for everything, and this is an opportunity for you. She's going to be one of the most widely known names, and she'll be one of the biggest stars you ever had. And Vince listens, thanked him very much, wrapped the meeting up rather quickly, and they left. He says, let me know. If this guy was stereotypical, he was a large guy, bald head, actually had a cigar in his suit pocket on the outside pocket. Just stereotypical if you would go back. He was kind of like Daddy Warbucks. That was what I looked at him as. But this guy came in trying to buy the women's championship for this Glow girl. So when we had talked about Ivory coming in and she had worked as Tina Ferrari in Glow, Vince's like, no way, no, God, Bruce, remember we met with them? Vince, I think this is a different girl. And sure enough, it was Lisa. And this woman actually has experience. She did work at Glow, but she also did other things. She's got some talent. But his first impression when he heard Glow was that meeting that we had with this Daddy Warbucks guy and some woman from Glow. Guy wanted to pay for her to be the champion.
Oh, exceptional block shot right there.
That's the weirdest thing you've maybe ever said on the show.
It was, you should have been there. And Vince is trying to figure out, and we were at 1055 Summer Street, which was the old office of Stamford, Connecticut. Vince is trying to figure out how this guy even got the meeting. Why was Vince meeting with this guy? And the girl was there and everything, beautiful girl, but all she had ever done was Glow, and she didn't really have much experience working out. And Vince is wondering, the whole thing, our takeaway from that meeting was, how did that son of a bitch get in the door? How did he get here? To this day, we don't know.
Goaltender gets that leg on it.
Later in the show, Austin and Mankind get in the ring, and Mankind attacks Vince. So the corporation does a run in to help him, and of course, our heroes, Austin and Mankind, clean house together. So the main event never officially took place. Vince is outsmarted, and Vince orders a gauntlet match with Austin against the corporation later in the show. Austin would beat Shamrock by DQ when he hit the stunner and Test interfered. Then he beat Test by DQ when he hit the stunner and Kane interfered. Then he beat Kane by DQ when he hit the stunner and China interfered. Then he beat China by DQ when he hit the stunner and Bossman interfered. And Bossman was DQ'd for laying out Austin with the night stick. So, how about that for some interesting bookings? It's a fun little angle, fun little storyline. It allows Vince McMahon to come in and pin Austin, and the whole corporation then attacks Austin until First Mankind, and then the Undertaker does a run-in. Undertaker chokeslams nearly everybody and cleans them out. Fun way to sort of build to Austin McMahon, just having Austin take on every one of the corporation members one at a time.
Short little break in the action there, fans.
Yeah, it was a way to do it without getting to Vince. So, kudos, hats off to him, because it got and it kept dangling that carrot. What's Austin going to do to Vince? What's Austin going to do to Vince? And you end with that last scene, Vince in Austin's face, doing his ass out while Austin's held there in the corner. That's probably still used today on every damn thing with Austin and Vince. But it was that classic shot, and people wanted Steve to get his hands on Vince so bad. Oh, good shit.
Yeah, that moment in this where he's down in his face yelling at him in the corner. I mean, you still see that today. So it was a pretty iconic moment, and it was on the way to this paper. Let's talk about behind the scenes. I also would write that Road Dogg was expected to check into rehab, and that looks like he'll be likely to be out through WrestleMania. He would say it's probably no secret to anyone paying close attention to the flip side of all this. The current media attention that the drug issue is going to become a big thing before the year is out, if not before the summer. WWF did some drug testing over the past week, and Road Dogg went to management asking for help with his problems. His match with Al Snow is off St. Valentine's Day's pay-per-view, and the plan is to shoot some sort of angle on the live heat show to give Snow a new opponent. Road Dogg suffered a scare at MSG when the ring ropes were loose, and he took an unplanned bump over the top, landing on his head in a six-man with DX versus Undertaker and the Acolyte. His arm on the right side was totally numb. The Taker brought him in the ring and immediately pinned him. And they held up the show for 15 minutes, put him in a cervical collar, rushed him to the hospital. He was out of the hospital later that evening, went to Toronto to TV, but was kept off of the actual wrestling part of the show because of the injury. So a lot going on here in Road Dogg's life, and it is sort of interesting that, we usually hear about somebody who goes to rehab in wrestling because the company says, hey, you got to go. And in this case, it's reported that Road Dogg has to go.
He did, and he recognized he was having a problem and wanted to get help. People forget, Road Dogg's a veteran. He served in Desert Storm. He was a Marine, badass, and not making excuses in any way, shape, or form. He had his issues. However, in this particular case, Road Dogg realized he had issues, raised his hand and said, help me. I'm out of control and I really need some help. So hats off to him for having the self-awareness to do that. And, there's so many good stories out of rehab. You got both good and bad. Sometimes guys relapse, but I look at Road Dogg today, and he's happy, healthy, drug-free, and having a great life. And good for him.
One of the real success stories in wrestling.
Yes, without a doubt.
All right, now let's switch gears and let's talk about Sable. We've talked about this before, but I do want to bring it up again because it happened around this same time. Sable makes an appearance with China on TSN. Deborah's there too, actually. And somewhere in there, they ask China why she isn't the women's champion. And she says she's not interested and had never challenged for it, but if she did, she would beat Sable in 2 seconds. And Sable asks, hey, we've never wrestled. How could you say that? China says, well, I'm twice as big and twice as strong. And Sable says, well, what do you put in your body to make you twice as big and twice as strong? And of course, plastic surgery comes up, etc., etc. And a lot of the rumor and innuendo at the time is that the boys actually sided with China on this, saying that it was taboo to bring up any sort of drug issue or even to insinuate it. And it's around this same time that Mero and Sable asked for their release, but they're not granted it because they know there's going to be a ton of press when Sable's Playboy issue comes out. What do you remember about this TSN incident with China and what the blowback was?
Well, I remember it, and from my vantage point, both of them were wrong because they didn't know how to handle the situation and went into a place that there's no way to get out of it. As soon as you start throwing that bullshit around, you're wide open. Those people, those of us live in glass houses, don't throw stones. And it just was a bad situation for both. I think both of them were wrong. So it just made a bad situation worse. And the guys, everybody liked China. And at the time, and it wasn't that people didn't like Sable. I think that it was, maybe they didn't, but it was more from the relationship with Mark and sometimes that protectiveness that Mark had over Sable at the time, and it just seemed like a favoritism deal with Sable. But fuck, she was making money for the company. She was over. The young boys absolutely adored her. So again, it's children being children. Put it that way.
Meltzer also writes, this is directly from the Observer. Rock has been wearing a shirt because he just had surgery on his chest, apparently to remove the gynecomastia, parentheses, or bitch tit syndrome, as it's known in slang, in parentheses. We get lots of questions about this all the time on Twitter. Why did The Rock wrestle in that Adidas tracksuit all the time? It's because of this surgery. Yeah. And it's, I mean, it's in the Observer. Let's talk about it. What do you remember about this surgery, how it came about, what the solution was, what Vince thought about it, etc., etc.? Because we've always heard that Vince was a body guy, blah, blah, blah. And now your champion isn't going to show his body.
Well, it's temporary, and it was no big deal. It was an elective surgery that he was in and out and working the next night. I think that people make a much bigger deal out of it than it actually was. And he wore the shirt to hide it and protect it, and that's all there was to it. But I just think that people make a bigger deal out of it. He went and didn't miss a day of work and had elective surgery to make his body look better, so there's no problem with that. What's the big deal?
How about this for a fun little story? Directly from the Observer. Rock, Shamrock, the Hardy Boys, Gene LaBelle, and Ernie Ladd all appeared on the February 7th That 70s show on Fox. The show blows, and Shamrock basically played a wrestler similar to himself, but with a Beatles-like wig on. Rock played the character of Rocky Johnson, with big afro, as a 70s star. There were WWF banners everywhere, despite the fact that the company was called the WWF in the 70s. And here's the fun part. Rock had a speaking role and did very well for himself, playing something totally different than his wrestling character. When the father and son, who were the stars of the show, asked him for his autograph, he said that he had a son and that his son would one day grow up to be the most electrifying performer in sports entertainment, which was a pretty cute line if you understood it, which probably 99% of the audience didn't. LaBelle played the ref, while the Hardy Boys played jobbers, and Ladd played Johnson's manager. Is this his first foray in acting right here?
I think he had already done not the Scorpion King, but done the first part of that with the Mummy movie, where he had done the Scorpion King, and this was right in that time frame, right along that same time frame. But it was, I loved the line. I thought it was clever as
searching for a reason. I'm in the chaos dimension. Reasons eclipsed by tension.
It was, I love the line. I thought it was clever as hell, talking about his son could grow up and all that shit. And they got Rock out there.
Can someone tell me the reason? I'm in the chaos dimension. Trapped in a brutal invention. If it stops, I'm having a bad dream. In and out of patience, I just can't keep it around. Most of mine's been taken.
That 70s show was a huge show for Fox.
You might be right, but The Mummy Returns came out in 2001. So I
Yeah, so he had already shot it. So it was like 2 years before that. Then he shot it, I'm saying.
Okay, well that would have been made
Welcome to this Pro-Am matchup. Tonight we'll feature two teams stacked with players who have reached legend status.
Okay.
Just look at these
Then I'm
lineups.
fucking wrong. I don't fucking know.
Just to say, when he was doing a lot of shit. He was doing shit with the Scorpion King. He was doing shit with the Mummy, and he was doing a lot of different stuff. So he was out there.
Pro-Am hockey coming right at you, fans. It's game time. And he's scored.
Came out 2 years. I don't fucking know. I don't know the date that he shot it.
Well, actually,
Early on, he was doing a lot of different
I
shit.
told you that we were in for a wild ride.
And you
What's
say,
up? This
no,
road
that's
trip
right.
ain't
And you
over.
don't know that it's not right. You just want to fucking argue.
I want to fucking argue. You're the one arguing.
I'm not arguing.
You
Stuck
are.
with the
I'm
pack.
arguing.
No, well, no. That would make this date that date. I don't give a fuck.
Why are you so mad, bro?
I'm not mad.
No! Denial of
Doesn't it make sense?
services! Let's
Doesn't it make sense that maybe The Rock had this guy on master surgery
sensational
before he filmed
stuff!
The Mummy Returns?
Oh my! Puck was
No
thrown
idea.
by the goalie, but
Oh,
that's
my.
all in the past
Okay,
now.
great.
Players,
Victor Perot.
how about another
Conrad's
goal?
right, everybody.
Man, was elbow scoped around this same time, and apparently when
All right, fans, who wants some more goals? I said, who wants some more
and he
goals?
turned the idea down.
live streaming.
Yeah! And stop by the goalie!
You haven't streamed in a while.
First of all, he couldn't
Oh, precious rubber
idea
stop!
because that was WCW owned property. Vince was hung up on the guy Vince fell in love with was Johnny B. Bad. Who the hell Mark Merrow was? And he saw this guy with all
Whip
this
that, no goal
charisma
there!
and just
What a stop!
fire and attitude.
No,
and
no, that's wild! So we...
wanted
This is the
to
more
try and
angle
create a
to
character
try to
that
practice.
could bring out the same qualities that Johnny B. Bad had. No, he didn't want to recreate Johnny B. Bad. He just was like, where's that guy? Where's the charisma? Let's find something that's going to make movies like Mark Merrow
Nice goal!
more than what we're getting right now. If it's playing a part, then let's come up with what part it is. Let's come up with what that character
Here we
is,
go!
where we can see more of that charisma and more of that character. He wanted to be Mark Merrow. Marco! Merrow!
Did you know that The Rock first thing he did on TV was that 70s show? It was definitely not none of your thing.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Takes the shot and no good. That goes wide.
So there's an AP story that comes out in newspapers across the country. Here's the headline. Olympian insists he hasn't sold his soul to the WWF. Of course, they're talking about Kurt Angle coming in, and they're suggesting that he comes in after WrestleMania, but not immediately. And they're talking about what his options were and how he wound up here in the WWF. But what I found interesting in my research is he sort of hints that he may have another ex-amateur wrestler at this tag team.
This is what the players get paid for, fans. Our Pro-Am matchup continues now.
And he
Load
suggests
it
that
up,
maybe his
boys.
wife might be written into the storyline. And I find that interesting because at the time, Angle's wife is Karen Angle, who we now know as Karen Jarrett.
Great pad save.
Let me up. Was it ever
Very
discussed
satisfying
before he debuted
Just
that
can't
maybe
be
his wife
beat. Big
could be a part of
save.
this? We never saw Karen in an on-roll managerial aspect of his WWF run.
What's
We
that?
did see
He
her later
says
on
no.
TV. Not here,
Denied with a
but
big
WWF.
stop.
Was it ever discussed early on?
No, it wasn't. And, that comes from Meltzer getting bits and pieces of information and stuff because Karen was at the training. So Karen was at the training one day, and I believe Dory Funk or Marty Funk made a comment about, oh my God, what a beautiful ballet.
They seem to be pulling away in
Those
this
little
one.
things
Next
then
one,
get
Kirk
out.
Busness
He
wide open.
hears that. Oh, they're training Karen Jarrett to manage Kurt. That's what this means. Completely no truth to that, nothing. That's where the rumor and innuendo on how this guy actually conducts his business is through rumor and innuendo. No truth to that. And Kurt doing interviews, even then, would just say shit to say shit. There was no plan of bringing
Shoots
Kurt Angle in with any other amateur wrestler.
Big stop.
Oh, Kurt Angle. Fuck, you want to saddle him with
By
somebody?
his lonesome.
And
You
plus he
stop. He will have to do better than
We
that,
weren't even
sir.
ready at the time. So
No
it
rest
was
for the wicked.
not even
Let's
an
get this
issue.
party going again.
Sort of like how The Rock wasn't ready for the movie yet. So
No, he wasn't. No.
Oh my gosh, let's talk about St. Valentine's Day Massacre while we're really here. Sold out weeks in advance. Sold all of the
Oh, no, no. That one's not going to count. No goal.
19,028 fans packing the pyramid, now Bass Pro Shop. 17,977 of those fans paid $316 grand gates, another $143,000 in merchandise. And Meltzer would say the show itself was horrible for most of the first 3 hours. This was a show where you couldn't attribute the lack of heat for most of the matches to the fact that the show was so long because there was little excitement in it. Especially saying that now there's been a bit of a paradigm shift. So less about matches, more about
The
Continues, it's so successful. On the big show, exposes the product and the matches and skits the gimmick set up. Have really crowded. Rock and Mankind had another good title match, but the crowd hated the finish. It was a show that on paper didn't look good. While McMahon's performance was a success, that was the lone saving grace, because Rock and Mankind, on paper, the one-match show wasn't good enough to carry an otherwise weak event by itself. Talk a little bit about the card and move on to the match. But before we do, I want to make
This one ain't even competitive, folks. So regardless of who you're cheering for, sit back and enjoy the sick display of skill.
Carry the broadcast. Meltzer would continue. Michael Cole was clearly overworked and mental errors as far as screwing up names. That one was making it a
Won't stop this party so fast. Let's turn these guys on, shall we?
As opposed to doing Raw, where the object is to tell story. It was what a move city. Even for moves like Bossman's finisher or Venus' finisher, it appeared someone was feeding the thing to say, so the often repeat 3 to 5 seconds late if he was being fed, as opposed to coming off natural. So pretty critical of Michael Cole here. You watched the show this week for the first time in a long time.
Would you like some fries to go with that burger? He got his first of the night on a delicious goal.
I don't think the announcer is really going to mean that much. But I didn't think it was that bad. I really didn't. And to Michael Cole saying, what a move on Bossman's finish, he said, what a move, and then called Bossman's finish. So,
and we're back in the mix after that little
say all you want. And it also is the point where now you have Jim Ross, who is on headset producing the play-by-play guy and the color guy. So for Jim's handicapped because Jim, the action. And if he's trying to call the action and help Michael Cole call the action,
shoots it
or calling it in real time and then giving it to Michael in real time, which is going to give you a delay. And Michael can't be himself, can't react naturally, because he's got somebody in his ear yelling at him, telling him what to say. So it's get to 22. You got your guy, JR, who's producing him.
Oh, no, not going to be beating here.
Who's trying to do JR's call, that he's not going to do it justice because he's a different kind of play-by-play guy. It's just different. And it was during a time that Michael was still getting through that with the live stuff. Having people in his ear that way, constantly producing him. So I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And for the play-by-play guys and color guys that can sit there and go through somebody in their ear yelling at them constantly for 2 to 3 hours.
Look at that hair, Nick.
And that will do it. The finest of pro-am action here tonight, folks. Fans, tonight we partook in a thrilling main course of pro-am hockey with a side of hot dogs and deep-fried goodness. Assuming your heartburn isn't preventing you from leaving, it's time to go. But I hope to see you again soon in the near future. Until then,
I would be going like, when Shane just gets out there, like this. Like today, when you see him on SmackDown, that's the Shane I know. He's natural and
then it gets a little faster.
Beats from the heart versus he was trying to play a character and had dozen people in his ear telling him what he should and shouldn't do. And color commentary wasn't his forte. But it was a way to expose Shane and get him out there.
Think of the skit they did with Dominic DeNucci, who's Mick Foley's original trainer, came to the show with Backlund and Cheek, and DeNucci's playing like he's the Mick to Rocky Balboa, and of course in this instance, Mankind is Rocky Balboa. Sheik's here to build up a spot where he's twirling pylons. Mankind thinks maybe they should be weapons. Backlund front stairs like a maniac.
Bill Housley is one of the greatest American-born players in the history of the NHL.
What do you think of the involvement of Dominic DeNucci? Nice little nod for Foley to give his old trainer a payday here, huh?
thought it was fucking great because it gave you that
Holy
nostalgia
fuck.
feel, and it
Oh
was,
shit, yeah, I
it was
was
that
in there and
lighthearted
started.
good moment that turned
Already
into a
did start.
serious moment. That was then stolen at the very end of it. If you go back and listen to Sheik, who you're on Mankind, Mankind's down, and he's selling from Rock nailing him with gimmick shit. And
It's like negative 35.
I walked off and Mankind now selling, and then you hear, because can't do it again, and she can get shit in. Oh, what's that? They can't. They are listening to me. Fuck this, Baba. Maybe I'll send
Fuck
you.
you on your
Fuck you, ass. Humble you. Bitch.
Viscera gets a win over Test by DQ in 2 minutes and 20 seconds when Bossman makes a save for Test. And Meltzer's pretty critical here. Because let me get this straight. They made Leon White a jobber because he couldn't get his weight down and it was hurting his stamina. Then they go out and sign Nelson Frazier, Paul White, and Brian Heffron. It's sort of hard to argue. Talk to me about the double standard there. Hiring, our buddy Blue Meanie and Viscera. And you
Okay,
just...
well, first of all, you can't put Paul White in that group, and Paul White was in great shape at the time. Also, Nelson Frazier and Brian Heffron were both gimmicks and a fraction of the cost of Leon, and didn't have a quarter of the attitude that Leon had.
Alright, there you go. Next up, Billy Gunn goes to a no contest with your favorite wrestler and mine, Tiger Ali Singh, in 40 seconds. Meltzer would write, actually, there was no match, thankfully. They did a ref off right away and had Val Venus and Ken Shamrock run in, and it wound up with a three-way. The show ended with McMahon calling out Austin. Shawn Michaels instead showed up. Finally, Austin came up, but they were running long, and whatever the point was supposed to be anyone's guess because the show went on the air in mid-interview. How the fuck does that happen?
It happens sometimes. Just gotta go.
Why was Austin late? What happened that you remember? Did Vince flip out? He's involved, and this is not going exactly as planned.
Sometimes it just gets away from them, and they're going on, and we're waiting for a certain cue, and they're not getting to the cue, and they keep going. So they think they hit the cue when they didn't, and shit fucks up. But it didn't fuck up the pay-per-view, thank God. We got into the Open okay, but in the Open I thought was absolutely just great. The black and white with the old-timey, Valentine music and all that shit. It was just such a cool feel, and really liked it.
I should mention the dark match. A lot of people locally said was the best match on the card just because people are so familiar with them. It's Brian Christopher and Scott Taylor getting a win over Matt and Jeff Hardy. They're all over too much here as the hometown heroes, so to speak. So good for those guys.
Dude, is
We'll
it
get to the
warm out
pay-per-view,
there?
though.
Holy God.
Goldust
What do you
beat
think?
Blue Dust in the first
Don't
match,
woke your
3
ass
minutes
up.
and 7 seconds. Meltzer would write, crowd died once the match started. The highlight, the word to be used for this match, was Goldust lifting up Blue Dust short and thanking his flabby butt. Goldust got the pin with the worst curtain call in history and gave him the chatter screen after the match. Comedy that wasn't funny and wrestling that wasn't wrestling so bad that even keeping it short couldn't prevent it from being an embarrassment. -1 star.
Says the guy with no sense of humor. Look, it was an entertaining match. It was kept short. It was to go out and get people involved. I didn't think that they ever lost the audience. Thought the audience was in it for what it was. It was a gimmick match. It was just a ha-ha. Go out and get the crowd up, do your job, get the fuck out.
What do you think of Blue
And it did
Dust?
that.
Lets it go. Shuts him down with the stop.
I actually thought it was great. I enjoyed it. But again, man, I'm a fan of Meanie and I'm a fan of Goldust, and they went out and they played their roles perfectly. Not every match is going to be Takayashi Okazuwa versus Shin Blaba Sukiyaki and fucking go 45 minutes with 10 million spots that nobody sells. And they go, God, it's fucking great. It's a fucking Gaga match with guys going out and doing their gimmicks and let people up for a sec and entertain them. And if you don't want to be entertained, don't watch
All
pay-per-view.
by himself. And what a stop on the breakaway. Shooter thought he could
Next up, we got Bob Holly winning the vacant hardcore title over Al Snow in 10 minutes and 2 seconds. The title was announced as vacant due to Road Dogg's quote-unquote injury that aired as a cover story for his rehab. They left the ring, started brawling, fire extinguisher spots, lots of loud sounding objects, broom handles, hitting each other with rubber and paper pop crates. All the rest of the server. They ended up down at the adjacent Mississippi riverbank, and both ended up taking a spill into the cold water. Finally, Holly wrapped Snow with a steel mesh fence with Al Snow all tied up, so to speak. He was pinned when Holly came to the building to be awarded. The crowd popped pretty big for him, so they must have liked it, even though it seemed to drag on way too long. The guys worked hard, but it was really a cartoonish brawl. 1 star. What do you think?
It was highly entertaining. And the guys busted their ass. They worked hard. My favorite moment was when Al Snow wrapped the barbed wire around Bob Holly and says, "Have you met my girlfriend, Barbie Wire?" I just popped for the little shit. Those guys going into the river there because it was cold. And then on top of that, for the time that it took Bob Holly to get from outside back to the arena so that he could get the win, and the whole time Al Snow is outside, still wrapped up in the chain link fence. No, I just chuckled at little shit like that. The match itself, I thought they told a hell of a good story, and it was entertaining.
Nothing decided here yet, though. We've got a bit of a nail biter going on, but
we've got Big Boss Man taking on Midian. 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Boss Man gets the win.
really great action.
Meltzer says the crowd's dead. Nobody even acknowledging Midian. Boss Man's food. And he points out that Lawler was trying to put over how everyone was now taking the ministry, but maybe not Midian here. He gave it -1 star, and of course after the match, the entire ministry, without the Undertaker and Paul Bear, attacked Boss Man, beat him down, and then Viscera gets his revenge for earlier splashing Boss Man 3 times here. Carry him to the back like he's going to be human sacrifice from after Viscera's lunch. What did you think? -1 star.
On his own.
I thought it was about 6 minutes and 15 seconds too long.
Yeah, this is just not good matchmaking.
It wasn't. It was slow and plodding. I mean, as far as the guys went out, worked hard. Nobody gave a shit. I mean, like I think they gave less than 2 shits.
Bob over here that he'd almost definitely lead with permanent hearing loss.
It was painful to watch. That's how, I mean, and again, that's why I remembered so much that when Boss Man did the finish, I was like, thank God I remember Michael Cole calling the finish by its name. That's how much I remembered that match. Get over, just go home, be done with this. And it felt like a lot longer. Yeah, it's about 6 minutes, 15 seconds too long.
Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett next, retaining the tag titles over D'Lo and Mark Henry. 9 minutes and 32 seconds. Mark's working with a bad knee. Meltzer says actually on paper they should have made the match better. D'Lo had to work like 90% of it, but for whatever reason, it just didn't click. You can always tell when Meltzer likes or doesn't like who he wrote. Jarrett wasn't even the slightest bit over it. That's where he spent years as a main eventer. No heat, and considering 3 of the 4 guys were solid workers, it never gained momentum. Fans didn't care about the wrestling because the focus was on Ivory and Deborah. Although they did a tease on Heat of turning this into a 6-person match with the women wrestling each other, the crowd died when the suggestion was made. Unfortunately, neither woman can talk. Ivory, who is 36, even though she worked a decade ago, it was barely pro wrestling. What she did, and she seemed out of place in a ring. Finish saw the women argue, and Hart hit Henry in the knee, breaking the guitar. Jerry got the submission with the big board, presumably to set up an injury angle to give Henry a few weeks off. The women went out afterwards with Ivory ripping the back of Deborah's blazer. 1 star. I don't know why this was a miss. Owen Hart's tremendous. A lot of people enjoyed D'Lo and Jeff Jarrett in the ring. I know Mark Henry's hurt, but An Owen Hart match with 1 star. Something was definitely not clicking.
Well, that's his opinion. I thought that the match was solid. It was what it was. I thought the finish sucked.
Takes the shot.
For me.
Right save. Cannot be
It was
beat.
just the guitar shot. You could see it coming a mile away.
Bit of a break there.
Didn't like the finish. But again, watching the match, you sit there and you watch Owen do his stuff and say what you want to about Jeff Jarrett. He could work. And stuff looked believable for me to save that finish. And to me, the finish was weak.
Val Venus winds up winning the Intercontinental Championship from Ken Shamrock with Billy Gunn
in the
with
goal
the round
ring.
in 15 minutes and 52 seconds. And only
Oh,
get a star and a quarter here. Talk to me about why the decision was made to take the belt off Ken Shamrock and put it on Val Venus. Meltzer would say even with all the angles building this one up, the crowd didn't seem to care. And Shamrock was sick all week, leading to the point that he actually stayed sick in Toronto after Raw and couldn't leave the hotel at all week. So he's in a bad way here, and the match is not
Brings
over
it toward the
as a
net.
result.
Huge stop.
And
You
after the
will have to do
match,
better than
Gunn
that,
attacked
sir.
Val for no
Whoa,
apparent
I felt
reason.
that from up here.
Caught me too.
Big hit. Bob, hey, Bob, that was
Well, as
crazy,
far
wasn't
as
it?
his
Remember,
idea
like,
was
that
to
time
put
when we
the
were wrestling?
championship on Val to give Val a little bit more credibility and give him a little something more to talk about. The match wasn't bad, but it was too long as well. It was, I think they could have done the same match, told a better story in about 10 minutes. It just, that extra time, for whatever reason, slowed it down, and it kind of felt like a weight on the match. It just seemed like they were slowing down and even accentuated. Every time Billy would go down, it felt like he was in slow motion. The way that he countered, the way that Billy moved, you would think you got 3 great athletes in the ring, and if you didn't know Shamrock was sick, you wouldn't have known Shamrock was sick in any way by watching this match. You got 3 really great athletes in there, and the greatest natural athlete in WWF history, Billy Gunn, just seemed like he was moving in slow motion, which away from it a little bit. But it wasn't, I wasn't terrible, but it sure wasn't anything to write home about it. It wasn't like, oh my God,
The game lasted
that
a few good minutes, but the memories,
and
they'll last a
in a lot
lifetime.
of ways, the show was kind of designed that way. That you didn't care about anything with a lot of passion until the last few matches.
Before you brave the elements,
Let's talk about next match, Kane and China wrestling Hunter Hearst Company for a 14 minutes and 45 seconds. Meltzer thinks it's the best match of the show so far. He has 2.5 stars. And it's interesting to note here that China, and I'll read this directly off the deal here, China works, quote, as a man, end quote, rather than a gimmick, including body slamming Triple H and power slamming X-Pac. Those at ringside could clearly hear Helmsley very loudly giving China directions, and she'd react a little slow to all of his calls. Eventually, Triple H does punch China twice. She bumps for him. I'm just mentioning all this because it does seem like something we wouldn't have seen we hadn't seen in a long time. But then at the Royal Rumble, we saw Nia Jax be involved physically with the men. This was not presented funny ha-ha. It was presented legitimately. What did you think of that?
I didn't like it. I felt it came off unrealistic to me, and it was a gimmick. I thought that the guys sold too much for China, but everybody has their preferences. For me, I didn't care for it. You sit there and you watch Triple H and you watch X-Pac and Kane, and they're in there and they're busting their ass and doing all this stuff. I'm not saying China didn't bust her ass too, and she was very unique. I just didn't think it fit. It just seemed odd to me every time that she got in there, and there was no compensation for it. It makes any sense. It's like, well, she needed more of an equalizer than just being straight up, going in there and bumping Triple H and X-Pac.
Charge you enough for this one. Get ready for some Pro-Am hockey.
Talk about the X-Pac and Shane McMahon fight to the back. Triple H whips Kane into the ring steps, sets up a pedigree on China. Kane comes back in, choke slams him, and then puts China on top of the pin.
That's the shot. Oh no,
How to get
not
the
gonna
pin?
be beaten here.
Cheap
Great
heat or
save.
good for her? I mean, I know you
quick
weren't a fan
stoppage
of
there.
it.
Can't slow
Talk me
our
through.
momentum.
Obviously,
Fans
Hunter
love
doesn't
to
have a
bring
problem
back
with
the
it. It's his
energy.
person at the time. How did everybody else feel about it?
I just think it was a cheap
Shows
pop
no fear in
to
the
me.
fight.
And
Dancing
it's
by himself. And there's no
What
goal
did
on
Kane
the
think?
breakaway.
What did
Just
Waltman
get
think?
that
What did
stop.
Shane think? What did the other people involved think?
They were the ones coming up with the ideas for it, so I guess they really didn't have a problem with it. Russo and McMahon didn't have a problem with it, and I may have been in the minority, not liking it.
What did Pat think?
I enjoyed it. Pat enjoyed it.
A locker room leader like The Undertaker, where's he at on it?
I really don't know. I don't think that she would have done those same spots with him, and I don't think that he would put himself in that position in general. So look, man, it's old school. People say I'm a male chauvinist and misogynistic and all the other shit. I just don't. I was raised a different way in a different time, and guys didn't hit women, didn't matter what, and that's your upbringing. You know, for going on 56 years, then it just sticks with you, and it's.
Bit of a break there after the puck was frozen.
I just didn't like it. It's a feel, and a lot of people did, and I wasn't one of them.
How about Mankind? Meltzer would say Mankind presumably retained his WWF title going to a no contest with The Rock in 21:54. They did the 10-count knockout rule. To get people to understand the spot early, Mankind hit Rock with the title belt and they sold the 10 count with Rock beating the count. They do an interesting match here. I'm not going to say it's their best match of the have, but it's certainly not bad. They're doing a lot of crazy spots, lots of chair shots. Mankind using the Sacco Claw, and Rock uses the Rock Bottom, and both collapse. And it appears that both guys are saying this is going to be a 10 count. They both get up and deliver simultaneous chair shots, and they both go down for the 10 count at the same time. So it's a double knockout. Meltzer were right. The fans hated the finish, booing heavily. They tried to sell the brutality of it with both going out on stretchers and taken away in twin ambulances. They need to emphasize more on television to their audience that nobody cares about winning and losing, and these poor souls in Memphis who didn't want a non-finish just didn't get it. Still, you can't fault the work in this match. 3 3/4 stars, best match of the card so far. You know, with the stairs and the chair shot.
Yes!
I mean, it's a fun match, but fuck, the finish ruined it, did it not?
I don't think it ruined it. I really don't. They gave him a hell of a match. Mick didn't want to do the job. I'm kidding. Sorry, somebody didn't say that. It was a way, again, so that you could get that one more decisive win. Just get one more out of it. It was a creative finish, and it came across. Again, the idea of a finish like that is to get exclusive people on. So to that extent, it worked. And sometimes you want that in the action. I was so pissed off entertaining bullshit. So they were upset at the outcome of the match. No. They're upset at the outcome of the match. There's no winner. They wanted a winner. They didn't get it. Maybe you'll get it next time. And that's storytelling. So the finish to me didn't bother me. I thought the match was very good. Creative as far as the finish goes and how they pulled it off to get one more out of it.
I actually like the finish, but man, when you watch it back now, that fucking crowd did.
Bullshit! He stands tall in the blue cage. Big stop!
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about the next match, because this is why we're really here, at least 5. Austin Austin's out first. McMahon comes out second. They start fighting through the crowd, and it's pretty hot the first several minutes. They're all into it. And you do notice that maybe they weren't exactly sure what to do. Perhaps, I'm going to make this suggestion, maybe this was blown up. Now the guy who's in ring shape, they say that's a different thing than being in shape. I, of course, am in no shape, unless you count rings, which I guess is technically shape. But then they do the big cage bump. And this is what everybody still remembers about this, besides the pin, is they're climbing up the side of the cage, and McMahon flies up and tries to go really hurts his tailbone in the process. But they don't stop the match, even though they do come out to get him on the stretcher. That doesn't happen. The match continues. McMahon gets thrown into the cage, and he's busted open for what Meltzer would call a big-time juice job. And then Austin goes to leave, but the defiant McMahon flips him off again. So Austin comes back, hits the stunner, but then Paul White came from under the ring, and then he threw Austin into the cage, which collapsed from the impact, and Austin wound up on the floor for the win. 2 3/4 stars. A couple things to talk about. Austin coming out first. Whether or not you thought Vince was winded or lost in the match. The tailbone spot, if you guys were really concerned, but he was really hurt there. Man, bleeding in the match. And then the little table that Big Show talked for a minute. But carried me through the match up until that point.
As far as the guys being winded, it was designed that way. It was designed to have Austin being the seasoned pro, the veteran, versus the guy that's never been in the ring before. The man, the owner, the guy that sits behind a desk, you know, and he's a big executive, so he stays out there to whip his ass, and it was meant to go up and down, to give him a breather, he being Vince. Spot off the fucking cage. Hell, I thought he was dead. Scared the living shit out of him. Because when he took that bump and the paper didn't go on impact, there's that moment of hesitation, and then that fucker collapsed. He hit hard right on the edge where there is no give at all. So, it was like we all just felt it. It hit and time stopped for that moment of impact. Then you're thinking, is he alive? And then he rolled over and he just stayed there. So, we didn't get word back. We really didn't get word back until Kemner and Bree and all those guys came back. Is he all right? And Vince told everybody, no, I'm fine. But his back was pretty bruised up and pretty messed up. That's for damn sure. But it was, he took that bump. Couldn't tell you how many times. Not with the table, but the distance, the height, everything. And he took that bump 3 or 4 times at least, practicing for it. He knew exactly where to be, he knew exactly where to go, and live conditions, it's just off, probably less than a quarter of an inch. It bruised him up pretty damn good. But the match was, I'm sitting there watching it going, I love it because Vince didn't work like a worker. Right. He worked like a 53-year-old man who was in his first, match, and it was a fight, and he was clumsy, he was stumbling. I like that. To me, that just adds authenticity to the match. So I enjoyed the fuck out of the match, and I enjoyed the whole story that they told. Finally getting them in the cage. And every time Austin would get out, then, one finger flip off. Well, that's bad. I'm going to come back with that. But goddamn it, you gave me a 2-finger flip off? I'm fucking you up.
Chock full of future Hall of Famers, and both were considered true dynasty. The St. Louis Blues have it.
You go back and just watch the way that Austin plays with that audience. with the most subtle of looks is pure genius and absolutely magical that a lot of people just don't have today. Was so understated, and he owned that audience, and they reacted to every fucking thing he did, and it was an incredible thing to watch, and just go back all these years later and go, shit, that was pretty good.
To me about Vince, quote unquote, getting color or doing a big time juice job, whatever Milton said.
Yeah, he got himself some color, man, in there. He wanted to do that. That was part of it. You know, Austin promising, by God, I'm not only going to whip your ass, I'm going to make you bleed. I'm going to wipe your spit off my face with your blood. I felt that was an important part of the match. For people, that was Vince getting his comeuppance. You know, who thought you'd ever see that? You know, in the one match, he got whacked. It's funny. So many times when Vince would have planned to get color, would have liked to, 9 times out of 10, not this time, but 9 times out of 10, he would get a hard way somewhere else. I say it's funny. It's not funny, but it's kind of funny that would happen. His attitude drama the match. You just knew that it was over at that point.
It's surreal to see McMahon bleeding like this, because you got to think. I know you get so weird talking about it sometimes, but somebody had to make it for him. I mean, he didn't make his own, right? I mean, did somebody sort of coach him up of, hey, here's where you put it, and here's how you do it, and don't forget to do this, or sort of talking him, who's sort of holding his hand through that process? I don't mean that disrespectful. If you've never done it, you got to have somebody sort of coach you up.
A lot of guys did. Tom did. I don't know who made it for him. But, you know, a lot of guys gave him advice exactly what to do and how to do it. Tom had shown him, and quite a few of the guys did.
Was McMahon nervous about the match, the table bump, the gig, whatever you want to call it on the show? I know you get weird about it. So, is there one thing you remember him being particularly nervous about going into this?
No, I think he's always nervous going out there, and you're... You know, there's a nervous energy. I think if you're not getting nervous every time you go out and perform, then there's something wrong with you. He was just concerned about the match. I know that, you know, being out there and being in that type of match, taking that big bump, you know, he was concerned about that. But he's the type of guy, you're going to go through it, you're going to do it, it'll be fine. Whatever it is, it'll be fine. Not really show it, but he's an intense son of a bitch, and he just wants to get it all right.
Tell me a little bit about the decision to have Paul White debut this way.
Not very.
When did you guys come to that as a way of debuting?
Phew. I don't know. That was a decision, obviously, that Vince McMahon and Russo had talked about in the way to introduce him. There was some debate about doing it here, because the logical then next step is you want to see that match, and we weren't going there at WrestleMania. You know, it was like...
See, that's what I struggle with. First of all, it doesn't feel like the original finish for this match. Do you know if another finish was ever discussed?
Not one that I heard. And, you know, I knew that we'd been talking to Paul and negotiations had been going back and forth, and then I knew when we got him. But people started talking about how to bring him in. And, for example, my idea was not to bring him in until after WrestleMania. And bring him in right on top going after Austin. Let him, you know, goddamn, he'd been off TV. Let him stay off TV. Let him percolate. People forget about the Giant. And then he comes out and destroys Austin after WrestleMania. And you've got a ready-made match there. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. Don't get me wrong, I love the spot. I absolutely love the spot and the whole way that it worked and it was flawless. But as far as the introduction of a major character like that, It was pretty cool. He wasn't successful. Basically, he helped Steve win the fucking match. Just a lot of philosophical things that I did not necessarily agree with. But that was Vince McMahon. That's how he wanted to do it, and felt this was the time for him to make a big impact. And just him being there was the impact. Didn't think people would care about, well, Austin won, and it was Big Show that threw him out. Well, forget about that. Vanilla.
It was so weird to me because I thought the same thing you did. Like, if they're not going to do anything with Big Show and
It's time to play
Stone Cold, why have this as a finish? And it also felt weird to debut him on a pay-per-view at the time to me, because it does feel like something you would want to do on Raw. Clearly, the Monday Night Wars or whatever, you guys are winning weeks and months in a row here. But it does feel like something you would have tried to do because he's coming from the other channel instead of doing it on a pay-per-view. Do you remember was any other way discussed about possibly debuting Big Show?
Well, like I said, the idea was to debut him the night after WrestleMania on Raw and have him come out and destroy Austin.
No, I mean, besides, like, I know that was your idea. I don't mean to be dismissive of that. But did Russo say, what if we did? Because he's also said that Russo was sort of Vince's right-hand man for some of the creative at the time. Do you remember?
Oh, definitely he was.
Do you remember Russo having a different pitch that for whatever reason they said, nah, let's just do it?
I don't know if it was Russo or McMahon's idea, because from them I always heard pretty much a unified front as far as debuting him here at the Valentine's Day Massacre. I don't know internally if they discussed anything else. From them to me, and Vince McMahon and I had this talk at the TV studio when we first brought Paul into the office and introduced him to everybody. And Vince and I went back and forth on it a little bit. And he said, I understand that you're thinking bringing him in a little differently. And I said, yeah. So I just don't. We know where we're going. We got it. We don't need anything else to get to WrestleMania with Steve and Rock. So
little break there as the goalie throws the puck.
We need him now.
We get this game
this minute,
once again.
for this pay-per-view, for this match. And he says, "Where's his impact? It's the first time you see him, he makes impact, but it's not a positive impact. Failing with his impact. No one will remember it. So, okay, great. Let's go make this the best it can be. But I think that for the most part, a lot of people felt it was a little lackluster because he failed. That's I can say. And there was also a feeling with Big Show that he wanted to work. Big Show wanted to wrestle. He wanted to show people that he was more than just a giant. That he was a big man that could actually have matches. Well, that's great, and he's turned into a pretty damn great worker. At the time, he wasn't that worker than he thought he was. And he was a giant. He was a novelty. He was an attraction. And I felt he should have been treated a little more special than throwing him into the mix and into the fire. They did.
Pro-Am action continues.
Let's talk about the actual execution of this. How the fuck do you sneak a 7-foot, 400-pound dude under the ring in the middle of the show?
Repels the shot with the body.
Out there all night.
Holy shit. That's what I needed to hear. The Big Show was out there from the time the doors opened for the fans to come in all the way to the end of the night.
Yeah.
Welcome to the big league, kid, right?
Yeah, here's your Gatorade bottle.
What
He had a few of those. Had an ice chest. He had a box lunch, I think. Had a little mattress thing to lay on. All covered up. He basically had a little condominium under the ring.
So it's like he built a children's fort under the fucking ring. And it's there for hours and hours and hours. And this is his first night in the new company. Now, obviously, he left WCW because, and we're going to do a whole Big Show, I'm sure, one day. But he leaves WCW because he's not happy with his contract. So he's got the money signed like he wants. But your first day in, Get the fuck out of the ring. Do your promo.
And the big stop.
Wasn't like he didn't give him a box lunch and some waters and some place to pee. He had a TV. He could watch the show. Didn't even have to pay for the pay-per-view.
Well, Vince probably took it off the check. Now, the rumor innuendo is that once upon a time, Big Show took a shit so foul that people were vomiting. He didn't take a shit at this show, right? Because that would just be the best possible way to make your debut with a new company.
No, I don't believe he took a shit this show.
Okay. We'll talk about the Big Show, I'm sure, another time. This whole story fascinates me. I'm really excited to cover it sometime. Who do you remember coming up with the little tidbit about the cage collapsing? Was that a Russo idea? Because it's fucking incredible.
I think it had to be one of the Vinces. Pardon me. It had to be one of the Vinces, and that's the first time I heard it. I heard it first from Vince McMahon, and that's when we were discussing the whole Paul White issue. And the name. I always say I hated the name of the Big Show. Didn't get it, didn't like it. I thought, God, Vince, it's so hard to say the Big Show. Now I can't imagine him with any other name. When he came out, it was, what do we call it? We're not going to call him the Big Show right out of the box. And Vince opted to call him his name. He said, you didn't want to do that. Who is this man? This giant of a man. You didn't want to do that bullshit, so just call him by his name, which I disagreed with too, but he was better than who is this man or, oh my God, it's the Big Show. Other people go, no, that's the giant from WCW. Yeah, pretty sure it's him.
Let's talk a little bit about Vince McMahon's performance. You know, obviously Meltzer's pretty critical at times, but check this out. The 53-year-old McMahon, who had never worked a lengthy match, was out there for 19 minutes between a lengthy pre-match brawl and an actual cage match. Took one of the craziest bumps you'll ever see, and was far less limited as a performer than anyone had the right to expect.
Beautiful, boys.
Meltzer in the match will be remembered. McMahon in the match will be remembered for taking a ball backwards while climbing the cage. About 3/4 of the way up, crashing through the center of the national cage. For a man of his age, who had a legitimate neck surgery in 1994, to take a bump normally reserved for Shawn Michaels certainly made a statement about bravado, ego, or maybe a little insanity. And he continues, but wow, pretty glowing praise there for a guy who clearly doesn't have to do this, putting himself out there. Did Vince get the respect of the boys that night? Or was some of the guys still looking for something negative about it? All right. Taking these big bumps, trying to get himself over. What do you remember?
I thought he was crazy. And it was respect. It was respect because, first of all, anybody that's ever worked with Old Blue, worked with that cage had no give. And you'll also notice was the last time Old Blue was used, or Big Blue, whatever the fuck. Because Vince worked in it. So when Vince started working and getting in the rings changed, became more bump friendly.
Oh no!
And when he worked in Old Blue, then by God, the cage changed to a much more forgiving cyclone fence. So that was the joke on my end. That thank God Vince started taking bumps so that we could get a bump friendlier ring, and thank God he worked in that big cage so that we could get a cyclone fence. The guys could do a little bit more. But I think for the most part, guys respected that for what he did when he went out there and busted his ass. And he looked good. He put the work in. Didn't take any shortcuts. The son of a bitch was over. He was the most over guy in the territory, he and Austin. So the fact that they were over and drawing the houses was directly reflected in their checks. So they were happy.
The pro-am activities have come to an end, at least for tonight. We have more games already scheduled for many future dates. More info tickets available on our
all the
desktop
skills
and
that you
mobile
said,
compatible
10 months.
website.
It's going to be nearly impossible to pay that off. You watched it this week for the first time in a long time. What did you think? Did it live up to the hype?
I did, and it gave you your satisfaction in that Steve wins. Steve's going to WrestleMania. And Steve busted up Mr.
St.
McMahon, bloodied him up. He got his revenge, but wait, there's more. There was still some meat left on the bone. And for the first official big match, one-on-one with Vince, I thought it definitely lived up to the hype and probably over-delivered. I didn't think anybody thought they were going to see some stupid bump like he did to the table. And I just don't think that they thought he was going to be as good as he was. So, I mean, he definitely busted his ass out there.
Let's talk a little bit about the actual pay-per-view itself. You know, it really is a one-match show, or at least the way people remember it. They don't remember the double knockdown. They remember Vince McMahon's performance in the main event. How do you rate it? Scale of 1 to 10.
Overall, I thought it was probably a 6. Because to me, there were only 2 matches that were really worth. The rest of the matches were Monday Night Raw matches. They weren't bad, they just weren't good.
Welcome to this
And the last 2 matches were exceptional.
Stacked with players who have reached legend
Well, and we're hoping the
status.
next week's
Just look at
episode
these
is
lineups.
exceptional because we're going to be bringing you
Pro-Am hockey
No Way
coming
Out
right at you, fans.
2004.
It's
We've been looking
game
forward to this one for a long time because it's the crowning moment of the late, great Eddie Guerrero. Give everybody an idea of what we're going to talk about next week.
The fight, the ongoing fight that became a reality because of Brock's decision to want to go play football, crowning Eddie Guerrero as the champion for the SmackDown brand. And it was an uphill battle that I don't think a lot of people really got behind. And it was a constant fight. Finally got Vince McMahon on board. But just the different philosophies going into this pay-per-view and the general feeling behind it, where you're trying to get to a lame duck match with Brock and Goldberg, and you're trying to crown the next generation and a completely different kind of champion in Eddie Guerrero. So, No Way Out 2004 was a monumental stepping stone in the WWF for some of the smaller guys, and you thank Eddie Guerrero for that.
What's coming up next week, but the week after that, we need your help. The polls are live right now. Go check it out. Having a race at Pritchard Show. And we need you to vote before the end of SmackDown, because that's when the polls are going to shut down. So tell your friends, go to at Pritchard Show on Twitter, throw us a follow, and vote in the poll. And then stay tuned to listen to that episode. Just 2 weeks from today, I also want to mention, maybe you've been living under a rock. StarCast is coming back. You and I have been talking about what you might be able to do. And you got a few tricks up your sleeve this year, don't you, Rich?
You never really know what could happen. Let's just leave it at that. You never really know. But I'm going to be there, my guy. I was the big name you announced, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. We didn't announce Sting or Bret Hart
Who?
or JR. Anybody else. But yes, you are the big name. Lemon innuendos. Eric Bischoff will be there. Tony Schiavone will be there. Tom Newton will be our host. And the names are going to keep rolling. If you haven't already, go follow it on Twitter at StarCast Events. And be sure to check out StarCast.com. Tickets go on sale next Friday. If you enjoy what we're doing here, see this lineup, you're going to be pretty fired up. It's Las Vegas, Memorial Day weekend. And of course, the AEW's got a big show that weekend called Double or Nothing. You never know what could happen there. They went all in last September in Chicago. Now, the boys are back. They're going Double or Nothing in Las Vegas. And you should definitely check out StarCast. That's StarCast. We're going to have lots of fun on shows as we build to there, bring up big announcements, or involve a lot of the old buttons here, Bruce.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. And, you know, the other crazy thing when I think of this Valentine's Day massacre was it was on February 14th. Next day, obviously, the 15th. We had live Monday Night Raw in Birmingham, Alabama. And I got a phone call because I was walking down the steps right after Raw. went off the air. And my wife telling me that her water had broken and she was in the hospital getting ready to deliver my children. So I remember going up to Vince and saying, "Hey Vince, Steph's in the hospital and kids are coming and I'd really like to go home." And he just looked at me and said, "You do what you think you need to do."
Short stoppage. Game on.
And Jerry Briscoe drove me to the airport, and I made it home. And February 16th was a big day, and I just always remember this pay-per-view because February 16th, Kane and Amber Pritchard were born, and they're celebrating their 20th birthday.
Monstrous save from a
February
mark on
16th.
netminder.
That's just really scary.
You know, something me and you never talked about? I was at that Raw.
Oh, they're just
Damn.
dominating.
I mean, I
right
didn't
there,
know
fans.
that this was that momentous for you, but my dad bought tickets for the show and took myself and my sister, and I was like, well, how the fuck do I have to go with my sister? But whatever, Dad got us tickets, so I was excited, and I saw nobody
Nicholas is that stuff is so just like Fortnite. He played since the game when it came out, and then like season 1.
Nicholas is playing.
Guess what? It's season 2. Right now on the map is just like what it was in season 2.
And a t-shirt tucked in because Arnold was watching the show, and nobody bothered. And I'm like, holy shit, that's fucking Dr. Beth Steve
You can change, there's 4 characters. You can change it when you log into your Fortnite.
I'll have to come check it out for this game.
Won't stop this party, so fans, let's cheer these
You
guys
had to call
on,
an
shall
audible
we?
because your wife's new album was dropping. It's a double album, and it's apparently gone flat.
There you go.
So, happy early birthday, Camber.
Camber. Oh my God.
Camber.
People, are you enjoying
Start
yourself?
calling him Camber.
Owns the crease with
Can I
that
tell you,
side.
Steve,
He's
that both
so
things like Camber is king? That hurt. Well, you do too. Fuck
This
it.
one ain't even competitive,
love
folks.
both the
So
same.
regardless of who you're cheering
Okay,
for,
tune in
sit
next week
back
for
and
more
enjoy
live
the
with Bruce
sick
Pritchard
display of
here on
skill.
Something to Wrestle With.
Con.
What about Bruce Pritchard? I'm supposed to say Bruce Pritchard.
Hey, Bruce Pritchard.
Can we get a run in from Amber next week?
Bruce Pritchard.
Please? Amber. Amber.
By
You
his
think this
lonesome.
is Amber? You're wrong. Today's episode of Something to Wrestle With, Bruce Pritchard, is brought to you by our friends at Macaloon Productions.
We'll get back to this one in just a few
Specifically,
minutes.
it's
In the
Come Hell or High
meantime,
Water
hopefully the
tonight.
boys can go back to
I'm
their
going to be there, and you
conduct
should be
and
too.
drop the
It's happening right here in Atlanta. I'm already in town by the time you're hearing this. And for the first time ever, professional wrestling is coming to the host cities when the NFL holds their big game. What everybody's talking about all over social media is SCU in full force. We're talking Frank Kazarian and Christopher Daniels taking on the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr. and Ray Payne, a couple world champs in there. And of course, Scorpio Sky is going to take on that trip Tuesday out. But on the undercard is where you've got lots of fun stuff going on. I can't wait to see. So you've got super talent like Joey Ryan, and Nelson Ford, and Matt Cross. But dude, how about Glacier? And for the first time in over 20 years, for the return of the decade, one of my personal favorites, the man Eddie Kingston's going to be there, Simon Graham, tons of names you know of. And it's right here in Atlanta. You're picking your tickets right now. Just go to eventbrite.com and search for Hell or High Water. Now, for the 2 last minutes to get to Atlanta, I get it. Join them live on Fight.tv for just $9.99. So Hell or High Water.
I mean, this guy's really good. He's an amazing ping pong player. The fool rushes in. And a stop. Nothing doing on that one. Great save. No! Can't beat him. Huge stop.
What up, Sucker? I'm playing Pro Am,
The
dude.
goalie gets the stop, but not for long.
Been
Here
online
we
for
go
an hour
again.
Pro Am, bro. Oh, am I offline? I'll go online right now and beat my butt back.
Pro wrestling infiltrates the NFL's biggest event that happens tonight in Atlanta. I'm here, and you should be too. Talk Hell or High Water on Bright are under $10 right now. Fight.tv.
Appearing offline, I guess.
Welcome to something to wrestle with. Well, you know, that's not a rib. Hey, Booty. What a rib tell you? There's no box of gimmicks. I don't deal with no. Just can't be me. Fuck him. I love you. Double cheeseburger. Double cheese.
She wasn't really affected by the web.
Well, like this is what's
You're listening to something.
Yeah,
Man, I'm glad to hear it because I am looking forward to today. It feels like we've talked about this gentleman in every possible way except giving him his own episode. We're talking about the late, great Gorilla Monsoon today. Of course, we've touched on Gorilla with Primetime Wrestling and couldn't possibly do a Bob Heenan episode without touching on Gorilla. We're going to do that.
It's over! This incredible Pro-Am game has come to a resounding conclusion. Oh my, what a game! It's time for us to part ways, fans, but this will not be goodbye. Plenty of tickets still available for future Pro-Am Challenge matchups near you. So gather up your friends and family and make an evening of it sometime soon.
You are entering ENC's Pod of Awesomeness.
Birdman, it doesn't sound like you're ready. I can feel the trepidation in your shallow little breath there and your little bird neck.
I'm ready to go, brother.
You're
Hey,
back.
boys.
Fired up. I'm back.
You're back.
Yeah.
How's everything going?
Until
Doing
then,
good.
from Bob and I, and the rest of the team here tonight, good night, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.
Live on YouTube, streaming hard.
Or that
Live on YouTube, baby. Sail to the world.
Unfortunately, it's been a rough year family-wise.
I want it all.
Unfortunately, and can't afford the services for you. His name is Neil Thomas. I let us remaining grandparent. So, but he had a great life. He was 93, so I'm trying to be positive.
Rob wants it all in his butt.
Right up until the last pretty much 6 months of his life. He had all his faculties.
Where's Dad's playing?
The greatest of all time, or the GOAT. The New York Rangers have built rivalries with teams in the surrounding areas,
Hold on, Nick.
including the Islanders and the Devils. Playing as the Devils, it's time to
Hold
take
on.
Oh, that's
the
funny
Devils
as hell,
into
dude.
the big city and show the Rangers
Dude,
they're
I'm
not the
just
only
practicing
great team in the
aiming shots, and I think it says Matt Freak.
The blue shirts on their home turn. This is the challenge.
I got a little rough with my wife.
Oh no, it's Braden Holtby. Never mind. I was like, what the fuck? I thought it said Foley at first. Man, I can't aim for shit. Man, I don't know what it is, Bob. I just can't fucking score in this game. I scored fucking 4 goals a game last year. I don't understand. My positioning is fucking phenomenal. Everything except my shooting. Sucks. Well, dude, I literally know I don't. Yeah. I know hockey so well. Like, I'll be in the right place every time. I intercept so many fucking passes. It's not even funny.
Try and say it again. 5-star
I can't fucking shoot. Oh, it says custom. Oh, I got a bang.
Record themselves saying that and send that to us. And come up with some kind of prize or something for the person who spit it out. Mind you, you gotta do it first. It's in their practice. Liars, cheaters. Just like us. Yeah, so you got all your stuffed up and shit.
It was when we were.
You're not finally about this. I finally gave it. You called me today. I finally gave it.
Alright, I'm gonna give it a lot.
So that's exactly what I did. I really will take you. My kid daughter. I'm sleeping with her. Maybe you're just really because you missed it.
Dude, that was so gnarly. Me and Brad were fixing that plow and it sprayed all over him, dude. Fucked up. Some got on me too, like it sprayed all over my face. But it fucking just doused his whole jacket. I was like, holy shit, dude. It felt super bad. Yeah, it fucking sprayed all over my glasses and my face and shit. I'm glad I had my glasses on, otherwise that shit would have got in my eyes. Well, you know what it is? It's fucking automatic transmission fluid with their label on it. Yeah, because it's red, it smells just like it. Yeah, that's exactly what I think it is, dude.
9 Central. But yeah, we had 3 weeks this week. It was the
Yeah, it's just what they use as a hydraulic fluid. It compresses and decompresses and moves the distance. Oh, that plow's fucked though, unfortunately, I think. No, it can be fixed. I mean, they just wear out, they get beat up and shit breaks. Like people, you know, like Dominic who plows, what's his brother, like commercially? They break so much shit, dude, it's not even funny, dude. Every other day he's like, oh, I broke this, or oh, my brother Dalton broke this. Like, they break shit on their plows once a week. They just get abused, dude, especially if you try to go fast. Which time is money when you're doing that commercially. Yeah, it's just abused. I mean, I don't think people... I mean, hard packed snow in that big pile ramming into a brick wall, dude. Like, it's abused as shit. I enjoy it. I actually enjoy plowing.
And I was like, alright, Super Bowl, I'll watch it. And I started watching, I was bored out of my mind after the first quarter, so I turned it off. I started watching some other stuff that I had DVR that I had to catch.
Robert!
What up, buttholes?
I saw the touchdown. So I saw like
what up, buttholes? I'm gonna invite him right now. I don't know, I'm gonna check though.
You guys chomp up. John again on Adam Cole is the highest rated viewed NXT match of all time. Yeah, good for them. That's fresh news. That's fresh. Fresh loaf of bread straight out of the oven. It's like a nice warm, crispy, creamy donut when you're driving back from Houston at 4 in the morning and you see that hot sign. Or a Whataburger. That's a Whataburger. But was this a takeoff of something else they tried to do in the past? Did I read that right? Well, there was a halftime Heat match, I think, once before, but it was Rock and Mick, right? And that's where Mick won the title in an empty arena match. Yeah. Okay, now it's all coming back to me now. I just saw something about it passing now. It's like, it's all like coming back to me now. But that's cool. I mean, I thought it was a great idea, honestly. Especially with all the debacle that was going on with
Who's watching the debacle?
May or may not be performing at the halftime and all that sort of thing.
I'll open up some hockey bags quick.
That was pretty lame as well. It wasn't that great. So yeah, I've seen it, and it was we're used to be a rock band.
Watch this.
Performing show. That's all it was. It wasn't like
Yo, when you getting on, dude? Alright, man. Rob, call him right now, dude. Rob.
I can't, dude. My podcast is on, bro. Let's do this, us three.
Funny. That's alright, let's do it. Let's do it up, Bibbins.
Us three got it, baby.
Dude, what the hell was going on today? It was like a fiasco up there. I was like, holy shit. Alright, man. Yo, the sales floor was a fiasco, Rob. You sold one today, didn't you? Or you're going to tomorrow?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a weird day.
Yeah, I know. It was. I was like, what the fuck, dude?
It was nuts.
Which one did you sell? Or are you selling one tomorrow?
I got it ready on Wednesday, and then hopefully that guy or the lady rescheduled with Randy said that they'd be in Saturday. But at least they called him and told him that means that if they didn't give a shit, they wouldn't just not show.
Yeah, they wouldn't call. Yeah, if they're just.
But they like called. She called Randy like 5
I
minutes.
agree.
Yeah, that's how I was looking at it.
Who's Randy?
He's over at BDC and North Star making phone calls, trying to help drum up business.
Making moves. Robert, are you watching a podcast or listening to a podcast, Rob?
Yeah, I finished up this Bruce Pritchard one on St. Valentine's Day Massacre when Big Show Paul White broke through that ring in like first time in WWE when it was Vince McMahon, Stone Cold, in a cage.
Wasn't that Tom Pritchard or the Red Rooster or whatever?
I think so. Pritchard has what he's been
Dr.
talking
Tom
about.
Pritchard, dude.
And
that was his name, I think.
Right now, I'm listening to the E&C's Pod of Awesomeness, Edge and Christian. It's their second year. Isn't that cool? Edge and Christian have their own podcast.
We're one of the, like, they were one of the best things.
I know, I agree with you, man.
Like
I can tell you're a real wrestling fan.
TLC.
You actually know what you're
They
talking
basically
about.
started the TLC matches. Like they were great at the
They
TLC
did, dude.
matches.
Them, the Hardy Boys, and Dudley stole the show.
Yep. What do you mean
That's
you
a
could
good
tell me
mania.
true
We should
wrestling
watch
fans?
that. What's that?
Dude, I'm fucking big time wrestling. I know a lot. Dude.
I can tell every time thing I know about the Attitude Era, you know exactly. Like you're not blowing smoke
That's
up my
when I
ass.
was really into it. Like not so much anymore, dude.
It's
but
not the same, Fife.
Back then, I was really into
The
wrestling.
product
like
that we grew up
ECW.
watching in the 2000s, even like you were saying. Not a lot of people tell me they like the era. I love that era.
That's the best one, dude, for sure.
It's awesome.
Oh, this is our arena, bro.
No way.
Yeah, look.
We gotta win, bro.
This is our
This is
arena.
intense.
This
I'm
is our
rattled
arena,
right
dude.
now. I'm rattled.
We have a legit arena, dude. Yeah, it's like Amsoil.
Sports Hockey League.
Shit, I don't think fully loaded's there. I hope it doesn't.
That's alright. We'll keep playing.
These guys are hard to see their jerseys. I don't like that.
Roadblock was set up.
That's alright. That's alright. I'm just glad you didn't get booted. Oh shit.
Fear the Beards carrying it
Because it'll boot you for inactivity. Yeah, you don't move. Oh shit, my bad. Oh, give it to him, Manson. Charles Manson. Oh, good job, Rob. Those are big to clear
I'm just
those
taking my
rebounds out
time and
front.
knowing my role, dude.
Oh.
I'm gonna let you guys settle in.
This guy don't have to have a helmet? What the fuck, dude? I want that. Oh.
Moving it to Stoner.
Charles Manson. Oh, my bad, Foley.
Good stick. A shot. Wonderful save with the glove. He's got that pass in the corner. Got that pass in his own end.
Online this week about personalized championship.
Nice work by Reed. Directing that one to
Your
Stone.
stupid picture was on there with the rated R one.
Carries it to the corner. That one came back over the blue line. Everybody has to get back, and the coach wishes he had skates on.
First of all, because I'm a traditionalist.
Fear the Beards organizing back in the defensive zone. Hot blue, strong defensive play by Reed.
When you had
goes to the backhand. It's a good save and goal. They're going to have to come up with something better than that.
Thinking about this new Dan.
Play stop. Hey, Ray, you've got a closer look than we do.
Yeah.
What are you noticing?
Goals are going to be at a premium tonight. Both goaltenders have played exceptionally well. The only way you're going to be able to beat them, almost certainly, is get traffic in front of the net.
Damn.
So you can distract them a little bit.
Many thanks, Ray. Pitching distance to Stoner. Oh, what a hit.
My dad was in the ICU for 12 days and in the cardiac unit. Yeah. Yeah. St. Luke's. He's out of the. He's been out of there long. He's doing a lot better. But he was in. Yeah, his liver like stopped functioning. It was the scariest shit I've ever seen.
And the winger stepped right in. He's alone.
He's in his 60s. Oh, get the fuck out of here, dude. He's 6. That's fucked up, man. That guy must have some crazy, like, trait.
You must be the star of the show.
And the face-off's won.
Yeah, how does he not have a helmet? That's bullshit. I don't want a helmet. Oh, it's penalty.
I got too pissed off, sorry.
Dude, I don't want a
Can't be playing
helmet,
like
man.
this, dude.
Boston's power play unit gets its
I hate wearing helmets.
Always important to win the special teams battle, or at the very least, come out even.
Good quick poke check there. Many yards
man.
gained to Reed. Took that right away.
Oh, I better not. I got a penalty for that. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Stoner's gonna be
I'm skating across the ice and bump into the guy and they call me a penalty. Fuck that, dude.
You gotta be
Yeah,
in control.
what?
You just can't run around and hit it.
Oh, I kind of did.
You gave him a little love tap.
I didn't really try to.
Every game presents a fork in the road opportunity, and
Dude,
this is it.
that's one thing on this
Fight,
game.
this
They
is the
got
first
some
time I've ever
cheese,
been in the
man.
box with you, baby.
Yeah. Let's fucking beat it.
Let's see a fully loaded kid put together.
Fully loaded's gonna score when we're both in the fucking box. Man, 'cause it's dumb.
Takes it in from the neutral zone. Snapping a pass
Yo,
to
can
Stone.
you hear me? I gotta change like the level. How do I change like the level of like party chat compared to game volume?
Puck is thrown to Stone by himself.
There's a way to do it. Oh, here we go. Audio.
Outstanding save. What magic score!
Oh, it's alright. There, that's way better. I was like screaming at you guys because I couldn't hear you.
They've been able to add to their total. Their lead now is 2. Neutralized face-off win.
We can get it back, dude. Fully loaded came back. We were losing all game that last one.
Hung right over him and couldn't
Yeah.
get it past. Moved along and in.
Damn. I'm surprised Lockhart stopped that bullet.
Dude, we gotta let. This is our arena, Fully.
They won that battle in the docks. Now it's directed to Banks.
Shoot it.
Cut that pass in his own end.
That's a bad turnover, Doc. When you're ahead, that puck has to be moved into a safe area of the ice 100% of the time.
Can start the attack going in the zone. Can he beat him here? Skill play by Lindros. Long lead pass to Reed. Banks is hit yet again. Tough night for him.
He believes it so much, and he's not tough.
Scooped up by Reed.
You guys are just
Passing
fucking
one off
up,
now
man.
to Banks. Has that one measured at
It's like all stuff that's kind of true. But
terrific determination by Reed.
Oh.
At a critical end of the ice.
has to have truth in what they say. And that's
I just saw something, you know, and then I just couldn't get the pass over there as quick.
The guy was up the helmet pissing me off.
Pitching it to Reed. Neutral zone interception.
Damn, Lindros.
They worked hard in that period. 2 goals scored, and both by the same team.
Piff.
A look now at the
Holy
lopsided
Lord.
shot totals. 10 for Boston and 2 for Minnesota.
I don't feel like we're down 2-0.
Peters Marker
For some
made this
reason.
a 2-goal lead for his team. Pretty good, wasn't it? As we
Feels
go
like
to
it's a
intermission.
1-goal game, dude. I like it. Damn, we only got 2 shots on net. That might be a problem. Yeah. I like this arena, dude.
And we're about to enter the second period here. What did you think of the opening period of our game?
Boys
Let's
from
do
the
it.
Rangers spent the last period defending, and that hasn't helped them score. If they can get more possession time, they'll be able to get better chances going forward.
Wonder what we're going to get here as the second period is underway. Let's just see here. Let's just see. Fires! Missed the net!
Sometimes it doesn't matter that you hit the shot that hard. That puck is drilled, he just misses the net.
Back to the point to Reed. Pressure now. Pass cut by the offense.
No!
That's 3.
92 and 97.
Because that guy was standing wide open 2-on-0.
It's alright, it's alright.
Here the Beards just continuing to hammer away.
These guys are good, it's alright. It's a good one. First game.
Boys won that faceoff in the neutral zone. Pass up that right wing, and he's got it. Couldn't do what he wanted. That puck's loose, deflected away by Reed.
I mean, I can't even get a fucking shot
Pass attempt
off.
to Peters.
I'm waiting too long or something? What?
Brings it in for an attack. Right in front.
That's my fault.
That's more straight.
I was too far over on the left side.
You're gonna get. I knew we were in trouble.
Here the Beards got an enormous lead, and it's in the
Coach
second period.
Pfeiffer's just heated.
Hopefully they don't go
Well, how do you?
daydreaming.
You must play a lot because I've never seen that before.
They won the
Yeah, they're owning me. They're exploiting me,
Have you ever
dude.
seen a guy without a
Pass up the
helmet?
right wing,
I
and
have.
it's on his stick.
In all the games we played, I've never seen.
There you go.
Great opportunity, better stop.
And it counts.
I want to know how you get that.
I know we can come back, dude.
Dude, watching some cheesy fucking. It's probably some cheesy shit where it's like a real player and EA gives him.
To Peters.
Peters is a popular guy when he's on the ice. His teammates want the puck. He's passing it beautifully. He's got 2 assists.
Covers and stops play. Just over 6 minutes played. One step short of a fistful. It's a 4-goal lead. Skilled play by Reed. Puck needs to be first. Offside.
Well, appreciate it. When I texted last minute to do this too earlier today.
Robert's gonna pick up the try.
Let's do this.
Team is ahead in this game, and he's doing a wonderful job in the face-off circle, springing.
Nice job, Foley, getting tough.
Lets a shot fly. Terrific shot, let it deny.
Oh!
Mishandled thanks to the roadblock. Outstanding body contact.
Oh, I want.
Oh,
Dude,
he's
I
been
was
looking
so
for that
ready
hit all
for the
night.
one-timer right there.
Flips the wrister. Saves there.
And let's face it, he really hasn't.
Minnesota's starting back in their own end.
Oops.
Oh,
careful about taking off.
What a great hit. In the open ice, you're really sending a jolt if you catch somebody like that.
So how's it going, man?
Picks it up in his own end. Minnesota's winging it at neutral ice.
Shit, sorry. Dang
From
it.
the crease to make a play.
I noticed once we
Moving
got
it
it to
to
the
Stoner.
second.
Takes that pass. Here we go. On to Curtis. Lets him go. Really quick grab.
Nice, Kings. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, they switched. It's random. Like, we could have different rock cards. We got King.
Critical win of the draw.
That's who we have.
In the slot. Read that play in his own end. Routed again. Ferros is tripped up.
There we go, baby. This is what we need here. We need to sneak 2 in before the end of the period.
Sent to the
4-2.
box for 2 minutes. It's tripping.
Let's get these scuzzards.
Well, in desperation mode, all he was trying to do was
Oh.
sweep the puck away, but unfortunately
Nice.
caught the player's skates.
Put him in there. Oh, this guy's probably the star.
Play will have its first chance of the game. Good clean win. Got that pass off the boards.
Just get chopped.
Solid defensive play. Cleared it back out of there.
Damn. Just buzzing Pfeiffer getting
Must
fucked
retreat
up.
and start back again.
Foley's just getting, hell yeah.
Nicely received at the point. Got it all.
Oh!
Emerson stops play.
We need to put pressure.
Just over 5 minutes to go
I
in
love
the
it.
second. The lead becomes bigger. It's now 4 goals. To Curtis. Directing that one to Stone.
Nice.
Still time on this power play.
There's
but not
Shook.
much. Pitching this one to Stone. Fear the Beard's good with that penalty kill, so we're back at full strength. Got it in his own end. Trying to go to Stoner. Crosses that line. Smart recovery by Stoner. Picked up in the
I had the
attacking
wrong
zone.
button.
One of the great things about this sport is watching two big guys collide.
How do you
The
stop
fans
it?
are really into that big hit.
How do you cancel a pass? That's what I tried.
It's a face-off win. May not seem important in that territory, but they have possession.
I was holding R1 because I was trying
Smart
to
recovery by Reed. At least he protected his goaltender.
When I went to shoot, fucking R1.
Extra man over the boards on this delayed penalty call. Boston's been assessed a minor penalty.
Gotta
2
get
minutes.
I
And the
got
call is tripping.
This is an easy call for the official, Doc. Player made no attempt to play the puck and just tripped up the attacking player.
Boys' power play gets
All
another
right.
chance to operate. Hasn't been effective yet.
There's not much new to a power play. It works the same way all the time. You get a good zone entry, you get the puck to the point, you shoot it, you move the penalty killers around. Let's see if they can do it this time.
Sides to head for the corner. Tries to get it outside. And that one sent back out to center. Minnesota's in control of the puck up the wing. Gathered up again by Stone. Turns back behind his own net. Puck lifted out, and the next
These
thing
guys
we
are
will
playing
see
right
are
to their
zeros.
playbook. They got a game
It's
plan
been played. They've
or
worked
something.
pretty hard at it, and they get a well-deserved rest. Third period coming up shortly.
You're right. Just lock down your position. And if you're in sync, it's
King's had days when he's been spectacular, but this is not one of those. An example there as intermission begins.
who's on the left wing, right wings, positioning angles. Hell yeah. Yeah, oh, actually he's playing this other game that's like similar to Fortnite. It was a free game that came out. So I guess something like same, you know, just like
Fortnite or PUBG, like.
40 minutes down and
Yeah.
just 20 minutes to
It looked
go.
pretty
What are
cool.
your thoughts so far?
Fear the Beard's been terrific through 2 periods of play. They can't sit back now, though. I'm
Let's get
expecting a
them.
3rd period push from the opposition.
Power play continues here into this period. Couldn't get through and retain possession. Gotta ice it here.
Guy just hoisted it.
Ball's fine. Clock bleeding down on the power play. Fear the Beards killed it off. Full strength action now. Nice play with the stick. Nothing more will come. Fear the Beards looking to head man up the wing. Shoots. Great glove save. Loose puck due to the play by Stone. Into the end of attack. Dogged determination there by Stoner.
Nice.
That shot came from just
Yeah, he's pretty sweaty.
The shooter thought he had a chance, but the goaltender robs him. What a stop.
The stick can break up a play, and it just did. Puck loose, couldn't get through. And that is an offside.
We were getting crushed at the
And they've won the faceoff.
That's a question. I read somewhere.
Great opportunity, but the pass didn't connect.
I was.
Cranks the blast.
Bullshit.
He's got his second.
I thought 3 of us were in the way of the puck, man. There's no way it was going.
We're in the 3rd period. For the opposition, at least that is fortunate.
The one guy tipped it first, I think.
Fear the Beards in possession as they travel through the neutral zone.
Yeah, that's great.
Stoner's known as a tough physical player, Doc. That is a huge hit to try to change the momentum in this game.
Whistle blown for an offside.
To go after it, go after the things that I'm afraid of. Was it like that for you?
Under 6 minutes play. What a tremendous offensive output, at least by one team in this game. Grab that pass in the
Yeah, there's this chill mode where they'll. Yeah, it was like 18-3 or something. They just thrubbed us, but it was a different mode, bro. It was like no rules. There was like +2 goals, -3, +4. It was weird scoring. It was different. But these guys were good, bro. Fight, what mode is that?
World of Shell. You can do it on this, I think.
Gathered up again by Stoner. Great stick work prevents the pass from being complete. Snapping a pass to Peters.
My own guy.
Hard work, but it paid off. No ice.
Nice.
Oh, they could have scored on us. They could have scored on us.
Great save there. Not much room to work, but he got a good shot away.
That great save was all position.
I think it's time we hear from Ray Ferraro.
He hasn't missed, it seems, tonight. Anytime the puck has come near him, it's been in the back of the net in the next motion.
All right.
It is just
Yeah, we'll tweak our players. Open your bags for leveling up.
off a body. Puck is thrown to Stoner.
There you go.
Lets it go. And another strong save. Pains that offensive line. Solid work there by Stone. Oh, did he ever get hit? I don't know how many times that is tonight, but he's been targeted. Right to the point. Laid on to Banks. Outstanding save. Just got his glove on it. Pump checked away. Takes that pass. Cranks the shot. Wonderful stop. Great save. He works it along with a pass off the boards.
I like that.
What?
A little bit more of a risky option, but he went off the board.
We might. Hollitzer.
To his partner.
Oh, broke it up. Best part of the game, worst part of hockey.
We got shut out. We're 0-1 in our own home. We're rookies. That's all right. No, we're not.
Boston's got another win. Lets it go. Oh, he scores! Second of the game. What a performance.
Dude, we were getting fucking absolutely manhandled.
Fear the Beard's goal has built an even bigger lead. We're in the third
Fife,
period.
that guy don't need a helmet, bro.
At least that is fortunate.
This is disrespectful.
And it won the neutral zone faceoff. Brings a shot.
Lockhart's just a stone wall tonight.
Looked like the net was open for a second, but he shut it down.
Well, yeah, we got fucking 8 shots on net, dude. Of course, it's not hard to get a shutout. They have like 30.
They've been in control the whole game, period. End of story.
Peters. Now it's directed to Banks.
Yep.
That's alright.
One way to wear down your opponent.
Can't win them all.
Physical. That's exactly what happened there.
Couldn't get through. Off a defender, that's a free puck. Minnesota's carrying on up the wing. And that play was offside.
Yep. Living a good life, fully doing your thing in the face-off.
Face-off win, and now what will they do with it?
Dude, 11 of good.
Blues now picked up. Fear the Beards along the wing at center ice.
Fear the Beard.
Passing one off now to Lindros. That puck is loose. A good defensive play. So we're into the last minute. All is academic here. Pitching it to Banks. At the front of the net. That's terrific goaltending.
Great display of goaltending right there, Doc.
Locks on that to Stone. Takes that pass from the other point man. Makes a shot. Blocker to
Damn.
31 to go. To Stone.
Stone's been right in the middle of all of his team's goal scoring.
That's how you break up a play.
Surprised they didn't give me a penalty for that.
Minnesota's continuing to probe up the wing. Puts one on. And a save. He gets that pass ahead in stride. Trying for it. Great job in his own end with that interception. The horn sounds. This one's over.
I know what that's like, Doc, being on the end of some bad games, some bad efforts. I'm not looking forward to practice.
Those are pretty cool jerseys. Like spacesuits or something?
So ends another game and another telecast. We hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. For Eddie Olczyk and Ray Ferraro, Mike Emmerich saying good night.
That's exactly what it was. Oh, they only had 2 guys? They had more than 2 guys, though they all dropped out right at the end. I'll be right back in 2 seconds, guys.
Alright, boys, I'm pumped even though we lost, dude. Don't quit. Yeah, that's true.
Was teaching in Philadelphia at the Ring of Honor Wrestling Academy, and so myself and one of my other friends that I've been bouncing around the trampoline for a few years, we got them all around my little Chevy Corsica. We drove out to Pennsylvania September of 2004 to try out for pump school first class.
I know, I put that in, dude. For sure.
Yeah, they were not happy. I think they thought it was just, he's 14, he's got 4 years.
I'm gonna back out and open up some bags. Or can you right now? I'll see right now. Right now I can. No, I didn't have to. I just had to get my traits on there, and then I could just open my bag still. And I didn't get much, but I just opened it up. Got some other beanie hats and stuff. I'm gonna go check out my traits quick. Yeah, I have a booming slapper 2, penalty kill specialist, and hockey IQ 2. That's crazy, dude. That's what I like about that. Just damn. It's like a nice balance for your traits when I'm looking at it. It's pretty sweet.
I first started my wrestling training, and I walked in at 7:30 in the morning, whenever it was, and the guy that was training me walked me over to the table saw. He's like, "Hey, this is the saw here. You didn't push the pedal. The saw comes up to the table."
I know, I love it, man. There's so much on here. It's not like plain Jane. You can tweak your guy and level up.
Picks it up and you do it again. I was like, okay, cool. So trained me for like 10 minutes. Went up to the lunchroom, and I was listening to the two guys talk that were doing the same job that I was, that I'd just been trained 10 minutes for, talking about how they'd been there for 15, 20 years. And I was like, that just blew me away. I was like, holy shit. I mean, I gotta make it. That was like the biggest kick in the ass ever for me. And I got myself through those days, those long ass days, thinking about wrestling, thinking about matches, about gear, about feuds, like all these different things. Like, but to me, that was like a wake up call. I didn't want that for myself. I mean, not that it's a bad job or a bad life. It just wasn't for me. Yeah. So yeah, I had the same thing. Like similar story, because like I do something every time I worked at a car wash or like I waited tables and like one of the big ones was like a Buffalo and Outback Steakhouse. And like I remember I was starting to grow my hair out at the time, so it was in that just stupid stage, and like I was still a teenager, and you know, I had acne and like I've got contact lenses wearing glasses, and I just looked ridiculous, you know, as a 16, 17-year-old kid, you know, I hadn't grown into my body yet, like I just looked ridiculous, and like I just remember seeing these waitresses and waiters and even the manager. I remember his name was Mark. I hope he's listening. They were just so condescending.
Bray.
I won against 12 other players.
What game is that one?
Yeah, I want to see something.
It's funny, I think
that was a shitty game.